Yeah, you should hear something now. There you go.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
James.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is James. He was at one of my speaking events, and I saw him at the hockey game the other day, and I just wanted to catch up with him because what sparked this whole thing was yeah, you showing me your phone and your affirmation on. So I was like, oh, I would love to do a follow up and a chat and see how things are going and to see how you're doing and if you have any questions. I did say I
Yeah,
sent some random questions to you, but I'm sure we're going to go off script here and just free flow, which I find is much better. It's good talk. So
I'm off script most of the time anyway,
yeah,
so it makes sense.
me
Yeah,
too. I hate when I get the emails and can we do a chat, and then they send me the three questions that we need to discuss because I'm more of a spontaneous free flowing guy. So as you know, James. So why don't you
yeah.
introduce yourself? Because I'm going to post you all over the social media as the top five agents of Ottawa, Ontario. So you might as well just drop your name and your info. That would be fantastic.
Sure. So I'm James Angus. I'm Ottawa real estate professional. I've been in the business for about 10 years. I was with a team for many of those years, and then I went out on my own. I've grown from, like, I went to Engel and Volkers with Chris Lasherity, who's a friend of yours as well, and I started on my own, which was a big step for me. And felt, when I think we talked about this, but it felt like I was really nervous and worried. And usually when that's happening, that's the right decision. I don't
Right.
know if you think the same way. Like,
I do. I
it's really
agree.
scary, but yeah. And then it sort of has grown a little bit each year. And then I saw obviously when you spoke to us, and I was interested to get the feeling that you are showing people, that it's all out there. You just have to say the right things and bring the right energy.
Right.
And yeah, so I approached Adam, and here we are.
Right. So a little background. At the hockey game, you passed me a phone and I saw on it that you created an affirmation, and I was like, wow, and you were pretty detailed in it, and I was pretty impressed because you do have your vision and your goal and the direction you're going. It's just as I got the text message from this morning, I think you're just hitting a little call it the bump in the path along the journey, and I think we should start there. I think maybe
Okay.
let's go off that script and let's just talk about the direction that we could get you from where you are now to the point that you want to be. So why
Yeah,
don't
for
you,
sure.
yeah, go with your
Oh,
question.
well, it's so because of my affirmation is I'm so happy and grateful that I've earned $1 million Canadian that I get to keep, and
Right.
it's on my phone. But at this point, I feel like I'm behind schedule, even though you've told me don't worry about the how. It's a matter of you know just getting to that point at the end of the year. So it's a long year, right? And as you said, it's just my question is how do you get over the like this point where it's kind of like, well, nothing's really happening yet, and even though I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, working out and keeping a good energy and being a good father and all those good things, um, how do you approach that bump in the road?
So this is kind of the hardest part, right? When you feel like you should be somewhere and you're not, and you feel like you should be much more ahead, but you're feeling like you're lacking. But this is when we need to realize that when you set out on that goal or that direction, you have that vision in your head. There's going to be that time where there's going to be a lot of quiet moments where you're going to start getting inside your mind and start asking questions, and you're going to start doubting your own self, and you're going to say, well, did I set my goals too high? Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right things? Am I going in the right direction? Now, this is a standard like thoughts that go through everybody's mind who set it any kind of great goals and started to proceed towards them. But what you got to realize is that you've set it, you've set the direction, and you're very confident to get there, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting to where you want to go. It's just at this point when you're going through this call it quiet point, is that the analogy I always give is you set out in the direction, the GPS as you know it. You get into your car and you set out, but you just hit traffic, and now you're stuck in traffic, and you're looking around and you're getting frustrated and you're getting, call it angry, and the anxiety builds up, and I'm going to get there, and then but you know that that traffic is going to last a short period of time, but you're always going to get to that final destination of where you're going. But you're doing the right things by, because I see you have a great presence on social media. You're talking great. You're doing the right things by keeping the flow of energy and the vibration back towards you. That doesn't mean that you're not on the right path. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get to where you're going. It's just those moments that it feels slow and quiet. You have to stay in the mindset that you are going to reach your goals. And when you set such a large goal, regardless of the amount of money or whatever direction you want to go, there are always going to be quiet times. And call it February is a quiet month. But that doesn't mean March won't double or be past of what you're thinking that can or will happen. It's just that we're stuck in this whole frame of mind that everything should go the way I think it should go. But the universe always has a different plan for you. And that plan you wish you could know and be like, oh, this is how it's meant to be, and this is what the universe is telling me, or the direction it's going. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So let me ask you the question: how do you know you're not on the right path? How do you know that you're not where you're supposed to be?
I don't know that. So that's a good point. It's I'm almost like I think if we started thinking the other way, like started got out of our own way, then just let it happen. But I'm more of a person that had challenges with that. I was always kind of like I'm very goal oriented as you are, and I never thought about it's happening the way it's happening just because the universe is definitely out there doing it for us. I always thought that I had to grind to get there. I come from like pretty I was a small background, I would say, like like maybe not some free thinkers and people that were beat down a bit for a lot of years, but then I want to change that generational situation, right? I just want to kind of make my girls realize that anything is possible, and look, I did it, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where my goal came from. Was that my family's not the richest family and never was, so that was just sort of a thing that, and again, it's not all about the money, but it's certainly about the goal and the fact that I can have freedom and all those things that come along with it, right?
Sure. So I'm a believer in the spiritual part, but also goals and vision, like a whole. But and I also believe that in this lifetime, as big as the materialistic stuff that you would like, you completely you can completely have it. It's completely up to you if you want it or not. I don't believe that just because you're set out, you shouldn't be wanting material things. I believe that you should have material things if you want to have it. That's completely yours, and that's up to you who you are. And everybody's material thing is different and how they want it. And so your goal is set, and you're on this path, and you're on the right direction, and you're going towards it. So if I gave you that magic wand today, and I told you March, which I really do feel that March is going to be a great month for you, is is that your expectation of what you're thinking in your mind, it may even double it for yourself in March. Like at the end of March, you're going to be like, wow, this is amazing. Like, and things can turn overnight. I've seen it happen, and obviously, you've seen it happen because you've been in the business much longer than me. Like things could change in a second. So, but
Mhm.
I can tell you this, that um, the goals that you set out to achieve and the whole vision that you have with the family and everything, like that is the best start, because now you've planted that whole picture, that whole vision, and now it just allow it to execute and allow things to go the way it's supposed to. Because we carry this is was my issue at the beginning, um, and everybody I speak to have the same. I shouldn't say same issue. Is just how we feel things need to go a certain way in order for us to be successful. But if we really truly understood how the universe has a greater picture for us, and the success will come in many ways other than the way that we think it should happen, we'd be much calmer, less, our vibration would be much higher, and would be much, I should say, much happier people. I could honestly say that. So this is not easy to do, by the way. As soon as we learn how to let go and allow things to present itself when it needs to, we prepare ourselves for the opportunity that's presented in front of us. Now, I did say at one point that let's switch the goals from dollars to people. I do remember sending that in a text message once. So instead of saying $1 million, how many clients you think roughly, because I know you could get 1 million off of 5 clients or $1 million off of 10 clients, but how many clients you think realistically it would take for you to reach that $1 million?
I think 50.
50? 50?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's great. So now let's say those 50 people, right? If you, instead of saying I want to attract I am so happy and grateful now that I've created the $1 million, why don't you say I'm so, let's get another affirmation there about talking about how 50 people, you could attract 50 clients into your world in order to create that the $1 million man that you want to be, the $1 million agent. I like that ring. So that's because the hardest part that we have, this is a belief that everybody has, is the dollar amount, right? It sometimes is very hard to get there, but attracting 50 clients, it's easier because you interact with people on a daily basis. So when you say 50 clients, you may walk by somebody at the grocery store who's looking to purchase a home, but the universe could attract you guys easy in a way that be like, oh, I'm looking for an agent. And that's happened at a coffee shop or at a restaurant. And then you've gotten the deal, which unfolded to you being their agent, their real estate agent. Is that making more sense to you? Do you like the way we're going with this one?
Yeah.
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 So
I think that it's more manageable in your head, right? Like the
yeah.
50 people is a lot easier than thinking about $1 million, but I'm open to your expertise.
So like, not that the fact that the $1 million is a bad idea. I'm just, let's shift it, because maybe you'll attract 5 new clients for you in the month of, from now until March, which will bring you the success that you want to see come March. So those 5 new clients you'll attract, but then that would spin into the direction that we need to go. It's easier to attract people in your life than it is to attract a dollar sign. And I'll tell you why. Just because we interact with people on a daily basis. People, money and people are just energy. Money, people, everything's energy. So it's easy to attract both, but we always have a limited mindset because of what we've seen or what we happened in our past with money. But with people or clients, it's easier to attract clients than it is to with the let's call it the money, call it the money mindset. But it's easier to attract clients into your world than it is. It is because you may get, let's, when I start posting this on social media, you may attract 3 or 4 different clients from this one when I tag you and I put you, which is possible, and which I've seen happen. But mind you, this is not an advertisement for James here, but I'm just saying that this is we're just talking about it, and how easier it is to attract clients in your life than it is a dollar sign. Are you okay with this direction, dude?
I am.
So
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'll try to organize a thought or an affirmation for you that will help you. There's a big process to all this. It's not just like I write a sentence down and things will unfold. But when you start, the reason for affirmations is that you program it in your mind, but it starts making you more aware and seeing the opportunities being presented in front of you. Because when you start thinking it, the thoughts are sent out to the universe, and then the universe is placing it in front of you. But because we're so lost in thought today, right? We're not reaching our goals, we're not getting to where we want to get to, that we're missing the signs that are actually placed in front of us. Like the universe is always trying to show us and guide us down a direction. It's just that we're so lost in thought that we're missing these. So um, we're gonna flip that. I'm gonna organize an affirmation for you, and then you could start that, and then
Okay.
we could go down that path for you. I did talk about the how in the presentation that I did at your office, but I never. I always say that worrying about the how is the worst thing, because you should be focusing on what you want and allow that want to be presented to you. When you worry about that how, it just gets caught up. So when it goes back to the dollar sign, when you create such a big goal for yourself, right? Then you start getting worried when things don't happen correctly, which way we think things should happen. So we're going to move to the clients. So 50 clients, and then you could attract those 50 clients in the next 12 months. Mind you,
Yeah,
February is a slow month for everybody. Not does it
it is.
matter, because when you work on yourself, right, it doesn't matter what's going on around you. Everything should be tracting and flowing towards you. But I feel that I'm just talking to you. I just feel that March would be a much better month for you, which is good.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's like you said, February is a slower month, but it's funny um how slow it is right now. It's
Yeah.
I have shown some properties, and hopefully that'll turn. But like you said, just GPS. Don't worry
Yeah,
about the journey.
exactly.
You know.
You're on that path. I don't like talking about the how, but you know how it is going to be presented to you. You're in real estate, the one of the biggest, uh, call it, places to be in the world as a profession. It's endless of how much money you could be created, and we know that there's a lot of real estate agents making 2, 3, 4, $5 million a year, and it's possible for you to get there. It's just we have to build that step for you, and I'm gonna help you out with that one. But since the seminar, how has your mindset changed? Like how has things changed for you in the way you start looking at things, and
I think I'm more open minded, and seeing things a little differently. I was sort of I come from like sort of like a not jaded background, but sort of like you get in your own way a lot, and my mindset changed. I'm not as hard on myself as I once was. I used to be really like I used to speak really poorly to myself, and then I was reading like Bruce Lee of all things, and I was a huge Bruce Lee fan when I was a
yeah,
kid, and he said just don't speak poorly to yourself, even if it's a joke, and just give yourself constant praise, because there's enough people that'll probably be able to bring you down, but the way that what it builds is self-confidence, and you can say something to yourself. And then I started focusing back on my exercise and my diet and my mindset, and I told you I was reading a book that's really old by Napoleon Hill, and I you said that's the only book you really need to read. So
yeah. As a person, the one thing that I find with uh, is that a lot of people start personal development and they're always consistently looking for more to develop. But at one point, realistically, if you read 10 different books in personal development, they're all the same. They're just worded differently. So the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich, the book that everybody should be reading multiple times over and over again is Think and Grow Rich. Bob Proctor is the one who introduced me to that book, and I have that book on my nightstand, and I also have it on my audio. So when I'm in the car, it's always playing. But if I said get rid of every single personal development book, and the one book you'll be focusing on is that book there. That really opens up your mind to how things should be, and what you should be doing.
yeah,
So yeah, good for you for reading that book. That's going to help you
I
in
wish I found it when I
great
was
ways.
16.
Yeah, but we had this one. You absolutely. At one point, I was like, I wish I was introduced to this book earlier. But we, I was kind of like you. We came from families who really didn't understand. Well, I shouldn't speak about yours. Sorry, my family, personal development.
Same.
Yeah. So we were never really taught this. We never really understood it. I was always bred with understanding that you have to go and work hard, and you have to grind and hustle, and you have to be in this whole state of mind in order to be successful. But you and I both know that when you get in that state of mind, it just causes a lot of stress and anxiety. And then I had to
Yeah,
change that. And I started exactly with you. When I decided to make the change, the first book I read was Think and Grow Rich. And then it just made me spin into this whole rabbit hole of personal development and understanding. how things operate, move in that direction. So good for you for
Mm.
starting that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How far along are you in that book now?
I'm organized planning.
Oh,
That's a
nice.
good one. I like that one actually.
Yeah.
Um, but I like that, I like that they have the 6 steps like right at the start, and then you kind of work through everything. But yeah, no, it's something like, I don't know if you're the same, but like Bob Proctor. I sort of watched him obviously on TikTok talk about how he was down in the dumps, and somebody introduced him and he said read that book every day. And he's like, I've never read a book. I'm 26 years old. And then he said, like, most people stop, like, their reading level stops at 7th grade because nobody forces you to read anymore, right?
Yeah.
And that's very true, I think, because I have books and I enjoy them, but I would never, you never really focused on it. Like, you sort of, you're reading, but you're thinking, you're
Yeah.
thinking about something else, and
Absolutely.
you're not focused on what's in front of you. And I find that I've been reading it in bed every night and just sort of actually getting into it and focusing. But I think I'm going to do the same. I think I'm going to try and read it multiple times this year, and have it on audiobook, and sort of just have the mindset instead of listening to something negative, because there is so much negative out there. Like, if you watch social media long enough, you eventually your mindset changes into something more dark, or like you go to a different place, right? And
Yeah.
I think your talk was super helpful for me because it showed me the light, and like, go, I have these beautiful daughters and I have this wonderful life but I just want it to be. And again, like we talked about money, but I think that it's more the freedom that I'd have when the money's coming in, and just not worrying about what's coming outside of me. That what resonated from your talk, and obviously the GPS part was huge, but the outside world, is so negative, and there's just so many things going on,
Yeah.
that all I really want to worry about is my little space, right? And that really resonated, because it was like, yeah, forget about they're doing and what they're doing. Just, if you keep your own house clean, like, you're fine,
Yeah.
and
No. And it's endless because
yeah,
most people are in love with what the money would bring them, not what actually the money would do for you. So, like if that comes down to the values part. So let's say tomorrow I gave you the $1 million. I said, James, I'm going to give you the $1 million. But when I give you this $1 million, you're going to end up on an island by yourself. Would you accept $1 million?
no,
No. It's because the having the $1 million comes with understanding what you want to do with the $1 million, how the $1 million is going to take place for you and who you want in your universe. So you've hit the right topic here. You're saying dirty, the house was dirty, and you're trying to keep it clean. It's just that you have your family and you want the $1 million to keep your family healthy, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that is understanding that that's the reason why the you hold the value. So your value first is family, because you would use the money to keep your family as healthy as possible. That's a huge step, though. Honestly, you and I talking, because when you create your values, your first value would be family. Like mine, my first number one value is my family. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. I put my family first because that's my number one value, and then everything. Money's not my third. My third priorities and my values, but I'm using the money to take care of who I live, who I want part of my universe. This is the reason I want the money. Because you doesn't matter. Let's say it is $1 billion. So how crazy it as it could be, you couldn't give me $1 billion, and you could never take away my family. That would never ever happen. So that's how you got to start thinking it. So that money's coming in, but the reason why the money's coming in is to help with the growth of the ones I love, the growth with the ones, because it gives you gratitude. And when you're in that state of gratitude, that's when the abundance flows, and that's when everything starts turning for you. Because it doesn't matter if you're having a hard month. Because when you're in that gratitude, you know the money's coming. You know the money's going to be there. But we get in our own way saying that, oh, the money's not coming because you think that it's supposed to go a certain way. No, no, you're doing the right things. Off the air, you told me you're going to be with your family between 11 and 1. to me, that's how many people would love to be able to say between 11 and 1 I'll spend it with my family, right?
Many,
Like,
many, yeah,
yeah, and you're in a great place to be able to say that. Now, financially, you just want to be able to have more finances in order to be able to do more of that with your family. And that's, to me, that's success. To me, that's the way I look at success. Is that it doesn't matter how much wealth I have, as long as I'm able to spend the time with my family, that to me is successful. So I think we're on the
agreed.
same page here. I think we're kind of similar with our goals and our
It's because,
setting.
well, it's because we grew up close to each other, buddy.
We
Even
did.
though we didn't know each other. Well, I think, didn't you grow up near Pius? Is
Yeah, I
that
grew
where
up in
you?
Bar even.
Okay, I was in Nepean, but I was in Tanglewood, so I was like, uh,
Oh,
yeah.
we're not far. Yeah,
So yeah, so I went to Maryville. He went to Pius, I think.
you did tell
I'm
me
not
that
sure.
though, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did
I
talk about
think
that.
that I spent a lot of time in playing, hockey and at Walter Baker and stuff. But that was
Oh, right.
it's maybe it's the hydro, all the hydro things that were in the way there that gave us that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, couple things to take away. What would you suggest to the next? Listen, you got the floor right now. What would you suggest, like, to the next person, whoever's watching this video, to say to them, "This is, I'm James. This is what I've done, and my suggestion to you." Because everybody hears it from me, but I would love for you to have another look on it because it might help the next person. So, the floor is yours. You. What would you suggest to the next person in order for them saying, listen, I really want to start my whole personal development, but I don't know where to go. You know, this is what I should do.
Well, I think that a lot of people, um, like we talked about, get in their own way, and I think there was an old saying, let go and let God, and there's definitely like different ways of saying it, but I think letting go of you can't control anything, like you think you're in control. We could all be gone tomorrow. You're not in control. So I think letting go and letting the you opened it up to me by saying let the universe just you just work towards what you're doing. You focus on yourself and your family. You make sure you're healthy. You do little things every day to make sure you get to that next level, whatever that level is. If you want to have a baby, or if you want to be wealthy, or you want to start a business, or because everybody's I find, like, and the one thing that you said that, again, you resonated a lot with me when we spoke, but was just block out the outside, because if you put blinders on, everybody's going to come at you and say, like, especially people you love, they'll be like, they'll doubt you, and they'll question you, and they'll try and protect you by saying, no, that's too big of a goal, or that's too big of a dream. So maybe stay a little bit more ground, like here. But I think that's all I think that they have the right intentions, but it actually is a deterrent to getting you to the level of whatever you want to be. And again, I think worrying too much about what people think and worrying too much about the future is getting in people's way. And if I was to say to anybody what I've noticed now that I'm older is, you know, nothing's really guaranteed, because we've all seen friends that have passed away, or they've something's happened, and some people live till they're 90 and some live till they're 40. So it's what's holding you back from maybe flourishing at whatever you do, and not worrying about, of course there's going to be wars and there's going to be things in the way, but like the people around you that are kind of in your ear saying, you shouldn't,
Yeah.
but I think you
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Why not?
Good. Yeah.
Like,
Good for you.
you know,
That's
I think
amazing.
that would, and call Adam, because he'll set you on the right path.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Give me a call.
Yeah.
No, James,
If that all makes sense. Like, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I think that's mostly what it is, to be honest.
no, it does hit home for a lot of people, and most people I talk to. It's the thoughts equal emotions, and you taking the action. And most people are afraid to take the action because of what's happening around them. And a lot of people don't want to take that next step or move into the action is because exactly what you're saying. They get caught up in what others are saying. and they're afraid to take that step or move in the direction because they start doubting their own self and they start doubting their own goal. But I could tell you this is a good thing. The thought enters your mind for a reason. So the no one told you that the amount of money you want to earn, you decided that. So there was a reason why you decided that amount of money. And now you're moving in that direction, which is a great thing. Some people get that thought, don't move in the direction because they're discouraged by the people around. So that thought is there for a reason. You got to think this. That thought was entered in your mind for a reason and placed there. We all know where thoughts come from, right? Thoughts come from universal intelligence, giving us the sign that you need to start thinking this in order to move in that direction. So the good part is you decided to make the $1 million, and there's a reason why that thought entered your mind, and that journey and that destination is coming. It's just you're starting to move in the right direction, and you're doing all the right things. You look great on social media, but I saw you're talking. It's good. That stuff is. I'll put your Instagram handle on in the video and have people move towards it. It's all positive stuff you're saying. So the thought has entered, and now we just need to move. You need to keep moving in the right direction, but we need to keep your vibe high, your vibration, which you're doing the right things too. You're starting to work out. You're looking great. Good color. Your vibe is high, so I'm liking it. I'm digging your vibe, James. Good stuff, man.
Thank
So
you.
this is all good, positive stuff. The only thing I'll do is, as we wrap here, I promise you by the end of the day, I'll get you that affirmation. I'll create you a nice one. And all you got to do is read. And then other things I'm pretty random in my messages, James, as you notice. I'll just send you a random message every once in a while. It's just because the thought enters my mind. I'm like, oh, James would like that, so I just send it off. So like
Please do. Yeah.
that one that I sent about the affirmation. The reason why I said that you get to keep is because I was just in a seminar talking about how sometimes affirmations, we reach our goals, but we fail to keep our goals, right? So then we were talking about how people say that they want to reach this destination of a dollar sign, but they get there, but then they have to pay it out in taxes, which would be terrible, right? So
Mhm.
you want to keep that $1 million. So you gross is not a million. Gross is X amount of dollars, and then you get to keep the $1 million. So now that you put in the affirmation, I get to keep, we're going to make sure that you're over $1 million this year, and then you get to keep the $1 million.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, man. Well, this is a great chat. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge with everybody.
Well, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we connected again, I guess we'd say,
Yeah.
because I think we
There's
did
a
cross
reason.
paths back in
There's
the
a
day.
reason. If you were feeling down, I hope like a little messed up about your goals and stuff, hopefully that's put aside right now and you're going to move in the right direction. Remember, you got my number, so you can message me anytime if you need any clarification, and I'll get that affirmation to you as soon as possible.
Okay, I appreciate you, Adam. Thank
All
you.
right, man. All the best to you.
You as well.
Ciao, bud.
Ciao, man.